So Scott, how you doing, my friend?
Yo, what's up, Raja?
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you very much for your time, man. I know you're a busy guy. I see all them videos you're doing, man. You're always busy. How do you even find time for yourself?
It's really tough. The wife gets mad sometimes. It's like sometimes I just want to take the day off, play some COD and go chill in the pool, but it's like you can't do that all the time. There's too much going on. Social media moves so fast. You have to be on top of everything 24/7. It's the social media is just so consuming for people who say, get a real job. It's like, man, if you only knew how much time goes like into social media now. Actually, my wife and I were just talking about this. We were going to the grocery store, and I was like, kids nowadays, they don't even know how to be kids because everything has to be a TikTok or an Instagram reel or a photo. Like they can't just do something and do it for the sake of doing it. There's always an ulterior motive that's usually driven by social media to go do anything, you know?
Yeah. Times of today is so different. It's unreal.
I mean, remember when you were a kid like me, I'm assuming we're close to the same age. You just hang out and you never checked your phone because you couldn't get photos, right? Texting cost too much money, so you probably didn't have texting on your phone when you were a kid, and nobody was calling you because everybody was already there, like wherever you were hanging out.
That's it. You'd probably make an arrangement on the house phone. Meet me here, and that is it. There's no text
Yeah,
in between. There's no like, oh, I can't make it. Like, you have to be there. This is our arrangement.
yeah.
Wow.
I can't tell you how many times I've told someone like, "Hey, Thursday 5 o'clock we'll be here." Like, okay. Then Thursday rolls around and they don't show up. They're like, "Well, you didn't text me to confirm." I'm like, "I already told you once. How many times I got to tell you?" Like if something would have changed, I'd be like, hey, I can't make it. But if I say, hey, be here this date and time, that's where I'm going to be there. Oh my gosh.
We need you to confirm and double confirm. It's wild. But yeah, the reason why we're talking today is it's because of your fantastic YouTube. And I watch quite a few YouTubes. It's a thing of now where whenever you need information, it's either Google or YouTube. It's
Yeah, pretty
like
much.
you don't even need to go to school. You can get every bit of information there. And yours is one of the channels which I followed over the years. I don't even know how long I've been following your channel, but it must have been a very long time. And you always give this like loads of different information on training, and it's always easily digestible. And it's not even necessarily like the most complicated stuff, but people love it. Like you've got such great engagement, and you've been doing it, and you constantly post videos. And I always thought to myself, does this guy ever have time for himself? Because I always see videos popping up. How long have you been doing YouTube videos?
I mean, I pretty much kicked off the YouTube fitness niche back in 2009. I mean,
Wow.
there might have been two other guys doing it, the same time I was doing it, but I really cornered the market back then and responsible, I feel like, for a lot of what you see now. I'll definitely, take that title as the OG fitness YouTube creator. I'm proud to have it. But yeah, since 2009, and I've seen the entire community or social media space just change and continue to develop over the course of the last like 11, 12 years, and just continue to grow and grow and grow. Things went from me being in a gym with a camera and people thinking I was some kind of narcissistic asshole filming myself in the gym to now if you're in the gym with a camera, people know, oh, filming a TikTok or a YouTube video or an Instagram post or whatever. So it's just so funny to see how much it's changed to the point to where now it's just accepted everywhere. I mean,
Mm.
I if I was traveling, it was so difficult to get into a gym and film because they're like, we're not having it, people's privacy, blah, 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 blah. Now there's literally just TikTok videos of people hiding and filming people doing dumb stuff. So, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
and those are some of the most watched videos. So Yeah, man. I mean, it's been a wild ride, and it continues to get even more wild as more and more content creators keep coming out and pushing the envelope to the kind of content they want to create.
Mm, mm. We're gonna continue to talk a bit more about YouTube, but we're gonna take a slight diversion and just learn about a bit more about you. Before you got in, before you became a YouTube sensation and had millions, was it 2.6 million subscribers? You grew up in a broken home, from what I understand. Tell us about that little journey. Give us a
Um,
rundown.
I wouldn't say so much like a broken home. I mean, I had divorced parents,
Okay, because
since I
I
was like
read that
2.
somewhere. I don't know if it was your page or maybe it was another page. I was like, oh,
Yeah,
note that down.
yeah. I mean, I grew up, my mother and father, always did everything they could to take care of, me and my siblings. We never went without, but we weren't, rich by any means. We all worked very hard, to have the things that we have. And so
Mm.
not a broken home, just divorced, typical, American thing nowadays.
Same over
Unfortunately.
here.
Yeah, but I guess the moral of the story is, when you grow up and I guess middle class or low to middle class, you learn at a quite young age that if you want something, you need to go out and you need to work for it to get it, and I remember like going out mowing lawns when I was 12, 13 years old to try to make extra money to buy the things that I wanted, whether it was candy, at the store or a new video game or whatever it might be. If there were things that I wanted to get faster than my $2 a week allowance, I had to go out and work for it.
Yeah.
But I always liked working, I always enjoyed the feeling of accomplishment of doing something on my own and getting things on my own. So if anything, it kind of, it made me who I am today. It made me the entrepreneur that I am today. I like going out and trying new things and not being afraid to take risks. I mean, even like YouTube, everyone told me that YouTube was a stupid idea and then I was going to fail and I was going to lose all my money and I was going to, live under a bridge because I'm just going to throw my career away.
Wow.
You have to have the mental stamina to be able to see things through. And that's something that I definitely developed, growing up. And my parents always supported me and pushed me. And even if they didn't understand quite what I was trying to do, they knew me enough to know that if I had an idea and I wanted to see it through, that I was going to do it. So,
Mm.
but yeah, so, when I was 14 years old, I started working in a local Gold's Gym. I was cleaning for 3 hours on a Saturday for a free membership. So every Saturday I'd come in, I would clean up, all the machines and treadmills and take out the trash and, do all the kind of maintenance stuff. And then it kind of got to a point to where as I was cleaning things, obviously in a gym, things break down. I've always been a tinkerer, very handy with tools. So I just started fixing all the machines that would break and I would fix the treadmills that would break. And it just got to the point to where the owner of the gym, his name was Dave, he just gave me a full-time job. And by the time I was like 15, 16 years old, I was running the front desk, doing the register, signing up memberships, and then when I turned 18, I became a personal trainer. By the time I was like 20, 21, I was in college. I was basically the GM of the gym, and
Mm.
just kept kind of moving through there. So my life has always been surrounded around being in a gym and working in a gym all through high school, all through college. And then when I got to the point to where I was general manager and I was running the training department and, the sales department, I was just getting irritated, or I don't know if irritated is the right word, but I just, when people would join the club, obviously I want them to stay and not cancel their membership. And it was bothering me that people would come to the gym excited. They wanted to lose weight. They wanted to build muscle, but they could not afford a personal trainer. And so they would get their free fitness assessment, where a trainer would take them around and show them around and show them a few things. But, as you've been in gyms your whole life too, like people just kind of fall off, not necessarily because they lost motivation, but because they don't have no guidance.
Mm.
And so that's where, my website was born before the YouTube video. So originally I had a website called Scott Herman Fitness where I went to every single machine in the gym and I took photos, like starting and ending photos. and I did descriptions on how to use the machines, because at that time I was like doing modeling shoots for Men's Health magazine, and basically that's what I was doing for the magazine. Is they would have me come in and shoot like 100 exercises, and they would use them in the magazine or their book. And I was like, oh, well, I can take this idea and make my own website and use it in my gym. So when members sign up, hey, if you guys have any hard time with exercises, just go to my website, you know?
Amazing.
And then when I was like 23, I got the opportunity to go on The Real World, which is a TV show on MTV called The Real World Brooklyn. It's a reality show where they take like 8 people and they put you in a house and kind of see what happens. So we were season 21, Brooklyn season. And that show kind of introduced me to the whole video side of things, right? And we were all on the show because we were pursuing careers in like acting or modeling or singing or dancing in New York City. And so throughout my time there, I was like a 3-month shoot. I was going to New York and I was exploring the whole modeling and acting world. And then after the show was over, I moved to New York City. And I lived there for about 1.5 years, and I continued to kind of pursue, this dream of, hey, modeling, acting, all that. And after a while, I just kind of started to miss the interaction of being around helping people in the gym. I mean, you got to understand, when you've worked in a gym like every single day, 6 days a week, 7 days a week for almost 10 years, and now you're just kind of doing something else, which is cool. But if you truly have a passion for helping people, it starts to almost feel like there's some emptiness in your soul, right? And I really started to feel that way. And as exciting as it was to be in the city, I just was like, man, I really wish like being in the gym and helping people, seeing, all the people that that I'm friends with, all the members, I know their names, their families' names, their kids' names. Like, I just miss that environment. And so, YouTube had been around for a little while, but it hadn't really taken off yet. Twitter literally just came out like in 2009. And I was like, well, this social media thing looks cool. Maybe I can make some videos and get, fitness information out there. And if you want to laugh, like, you can go watch my original videos. Like, I was so awkward on camera. It was hilarious. It was really bad. But basically what ended up happening was there was a guy who worked at the Google offices for YouTube in New York City who was a fan of my season of Real World because it was airing on TV. And he saw that I was making videos and I lived in New York. So he invited me down to the Google offices in New York. And he's like, hey, you can make a living doing YouTube videos if you're consistent and you create good content. And he kind of showed me the ropes. And so it was at that point, I kind of just made a decision where I was like, well, you know what? I see an opportunity here. The whole acting modeling thing is like, it's cool, but I wasn't really enjoying it. So I just kind of made a decision where I was like, well, I'm going to stop pursuing that. I'm going to go back home. I'm going to go back to the gym that I had worked at, forever. And I'm going to start making my YouTube videos. And then I just kind of followed the same process as I did before I left, where instead of having photos of all the exercise, of all the machines and exercises in the gym, I made videos. And those are the videos that you see, all the 2-minute videos that are on my YouTube channel that start out with Answers Fitness. And it's literally like, I'm going to show you how to do a chest press. I'm going to show you how to do a lat pull down. I'm going to show you how to do a sit-up. All of those videos, I filmed them and embedded them on my website. And I would tell members like, hey, watch these videos if you want to learn how to use any of the equipment in this club. And then it's just kind of built up from there.
Incredible. Wow. Did you start off recording on your phone, or did you buy a camera and start using a camera?
Oh my gosh. we had these like little camera things on when I was on The Real World. I forget what they were called, but it's like a crappy little camera and it had a flip USB on it, right? So you could film and then plug it into your computer and just pull the footage right off. I can't remember what it's called, but that's what I use. That's literally what I used to start, and I had like no experience editing footage back then too. So everything was shot like in one shot because I didn't want to do any editing. So if I messed up, I would just redo it. I'm like, I don't know how to edit. Like, it's just, one shot and we're done, no fancy highlights of muscles or anything like that. And people liked it. They liked it better, it was more raw. It was more real. It's called, I think it was called like a flip camera. if I'm not mistaken.
I think I have one of those. When I used to be endorsed by a UK supplement brand, they gave me one of those to record some content. I know I've got it
Yeah,
somewhere.
it's called a Flip Ultra HD video camera.
Flip
Yeah, I'm
Ultra.
looking it up right now on Google. But yeah, because you would just film and then you would just push a button and the USB arm would fly out and then
Mhm.
you would just
Was it a red
download.
button, like a red
Yeah,
button? Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yep. That was like the thing to use, you know. And they gave us those on the show because we weren't allowed to have cell phones, right? But they wanted us to record things, so they gave us those.
Oh, that's awesome. So we'll come back to that. I wanted to know, what is your a typical diet for you at the moment? I mean, do you bulk and cut? Do you have high protein, high carb, carb cycle? Do you follow any seasonal eating, any kind of dogmatic approach? What's your view to eating?
So I typically get in like around 3,000 to 3,500 calories a day, and I try to follow more of a high protein type diet. I'm like 193 right now at 5'10", and that's too heavy for me. And even at this weight, you know, I'm stronger than I've ever been. Like me and my workout partner have been pushing ourselves like really hard in the gym lately. You know, I'm benching 225 for sets of 8 on the incline, which was never something I could do before. I
Right.
don't know, just was never really a heavy bencher, like deadlifting and like triceps and biceps or whatever. I've always been able to lift heavy weight, but I've never been a heavy bencher. And all of a sudden my bench has been, you know, going through the roof. But, you know, then when I go out for like a 4-mile run, my body feels like it weighs, you know, a gazillion pounds.
Mm.
Because I'm a run, like I like to run. I like to do cardio outside. It's like therapeutic for me, you know. So I think for me, my goal weight is like a lean 175 to 180. But like even at 193, like I'm still relatively lean. I can see my abs and my obliques and whatnot, right?
What's that in kilos? Just trying to convert it.
What is it? Do you multiply it by 2.2, right? For kilos?
Yeah, something like that.
So let me just see, 193 pounds, 2 kilos. So 80, no, divide it. It's 87 kilos, 87.5.
87. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Hmm.
so, I've noticed, so as the years have progressed and my lifestyle has changed, I spend a lot more time sitting. You know, when I was working in the gym, I was always walking around, always running, going up and down stairs, moving around constantly. And it was a lot easier to stay, you know, really lean. Now it's like I'm literally sitting down at the computer, you know, 5, 6, 7 hours a day. I'm doing video editing and I'm not as active as I used to be. So I have to maintain a higher protein diet, and I also have to restrict carbs at night, or else I start to put on body fat. I really start to notice it. And people like to say like, oh, you know, timing doesn't matter with your carbs, but it's like, I've been doing this for 22 years. If I eat a shitload of carbs at night, every night for a week straight, I get fat. Like it's just like,
You know your body.
like, Jude, like all I got to do is look in the mirror. Like you can tell me calories in versus calories out all you want. And to a degree, that is correct. But if I'm loading carbs, you know, right before I go to sleep, I get fat, period. So I load on carbs throughout the day. Okay. And then I try to, you know, go more towards, you know, proteins at night, whether it's like a shake or I'll do like fruit and yogurt and things like that at nighttime. But, you know, for the most part, I do high protein. I try to keep my carbs around like 200 to like 225, maybe 250. And I'll carb cycle to a degree, right? It depends on what I'm doing for activity that day. Like if it's a heavy leg day, you know, I like to load up on carbs a bit more. I feel a little stronger in the gym. Or if I'm going to do a lot of running outside, and I live in Florida, you know, and it's, you know, 100 degrees outside, I try to load up a bit more on energy so I can last longer out there. So, but for the most part, like, and I tell my clients this too, you know, I don't really stress so much on diet. You know, I always give my clients a ballpark of like, hey, this is where you need to be. This is where your macros need to be. But if you're above or below that number a little bit, it's not a big deal. It's not like you're trying to get stage ready.
Mhm.
And the reason why I do that is because I feel like a lot of people just get really hung up on exact numbers. And I remind them, I'm like, these numbers that I'm giving you, they're based on a calculation. Like they're not an exact number, that's written in stone. It's literally a guesstimation from a calculation. And then it's up to us to either, go up or go down from there to see what works best for your body. I actually just put a video on YouTube the other day kind of talking about this. And I basically said, when I'm trying to find macros, let's say we come to your macros are 2,000 calories, right? What I try to do is see how your body reacts to that over the course of the next week or 2 weeks. Like for example, if it's a brand new client who's never eaten 2,000 calories before, and this, they're going to feel relatively full for the first couple of weeks. Let's say they're used to eating like 1,300 calories or 1,500 calories. They're going to feel really full, maybe even a little bloated for the first week or 2 weeks. But then after that, their body starts to get acclimated to eating more food. They're going to start to probably feel hungrier, because then that 2,000 calories won't be enough. And you have to do it in baby steps. Like you have to raise their calories, bits at a time to get them to where they need to be. So when it comes to a meal plan, and if you're listening to this podcast and meal planning is something that you haven't really fully paid attention to, always know that it's okay to start at one point and then just test it for a week or two, and then either go up from there or down from there. And the way you determine whether you go up from there is if you're feeling really hungry and you're not really putting on, any mass, of course you can go up.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're feeling really full and you're starting to feel fat, you should probably go down a little bit. But it's only like 150 to 200 calorie increments, and usually the majority of what you're adjusting is your carbohydrates. But
have you dealt with clients that have had like issues with, let's say, actually women that their cycle may have stopped, something like that?
Yeah. Well, my wife,
Okay.
So I deal with it every day. And one thing I do find though, when it comes to diet and working with clients, especially when it's, online, when you're putting together a meal plan, you're assuming you're getting a very specific amount of intensity out of the workouts that you're supplying. Right. And so a lot of times what I've noticed, and this is with, male and female, is they'll be like, oh, I'm eating too much food, or I'm feeling a certain way, or I'm not seeing results, whatever. A lot of times it comes down to them just not being intense enough with their workouts. And in their head, they might feel like they're being intense enough, but until you work out with someone who trains very intensely, you can't really gauge what that means. Because a lot of people, especially if they're new to the gym, like they feel like if they go too heavy or use a little bit of momentum, they're going to hurt themselves. And rightfully so, because you can obviously hurt yourself. But, I can't tell you how many times, because I live in Florida. So a lot of my clients will like come here to go vacation to Disney or something. I'll be like, oh, let's get together for a workout. And then I bring them to the gym and we'll do the same workout I have them on, and they're doing really well with it. But then I kind of show them the next level of intensity to bring to the workout. And they're like, oh, okay, now I know what you mean when you say, add 5 pounds and use a little momentum, or, various techniques that you can use to increase the intensity. And then it makes the meal plan make more sense. And then they're able to come back to me 2 weeks later and be like, oh, I increased the intensity like you showed me. Now I'm hungrier. I'm like, yeah, because you're burning more calories. You're pushing yourself a little harder. So there's a lot of different variables that go into creating workout plans for people, especially on a one-on-one basis. And it's like, everything is a starting point. Like, hey, we're starting here. This is the workout. This is the meal plan. And then it's then up to us as trainers to help guide them towards increasing their intensity and then gradually increasing their calories as they build muscle mass. It's not just like a one and done thing. And that's why I get really irritated when, people sell these packages online. Those other online trainers, they'll be like, oh, give me $800 and here's your program. And it's like the same program that every person gets.
Ooh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and you've seen that too. And it's out there, unfortunately, and people get taken advantage of. And I know they do, because then they come work with me and they tell me, the what they went through. And it's like, it is what it is, man. There's a lot of people out there trying to make a buck,
Well, you're one of the good guys, which is a great thing. And
I like to hope so.
I want to compliment you because you look pretty young, man. You look about 28, and I only discovered you're older than that. I saw a video where you were um, talking to your daughter, and you'd mentioned she's 20, and I was like, oh gosh, how like did he have her when he was 8? And then you mentioned your age. He goes, I'm 35. She's my stepdaughter. I was like, right, but you still look 28.
Oh, thanks, man.
About that, or maybe younger.
I'm gonna be 38 this year.
Oh, 38. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. 38. Amazing. Amazing. So how do you manage to keep your youthful looks? I mean, you look like, as I said, pretty young.
I think it's like a mentality thing. Like in my head, I still feel the same, you know?
Mhm.
I mean, look at my room behind me, you know, like I clearly haven't grown up. You get all my action figures and toys and my collectibles and everything. I don't like, a lot of my friends and my close group of friends, I noticed the change when a lot of them kind of like, you know, got older and got married and started having kids. I feel like it's almost like a switch went off in their head and they're like, okay, now I'm an adult because now I have to do all these adult things. And so I have to act a certain way or, you know, just my lifestyle has changed. And I recognize that I am an adult and my lifestyle has changed and I have a wife and I have a daughter and everything. But like, I'm still the same person that I was when I was in my 20s in terms of like the things I like to do, how I interact, how I bust balls, you know, like the games and things I'm interested in. Like I just never let that part of me die. So
Yes.
I don't know, maybe that has something to do with it because we all know how powerful, you know, your mentality is. I mean, just even in your everyday life, you know, if you're just negative in your everyday life, usually negative stuff happens to you, right? And if
Yeah.
you're positive, you bring positive things in your life. Um, you know, I was actually just at the gym last week. So my workout partner is Diego, and he's 20 years old. And I met him at the gym when I first moved down here. So he was like 16 years old, and I taught him like, you know, how to lift, how to bench better, how to eat more food, you know, and now he's like squatting 415, you know, and he likes to bust my balls because he can squat more than me, but he can't deadlift for shit. So I always get him on the deadlifts.
You
So
tell him.
yeah, but like, I mean, even the company I keep, like, I have this fun rivalry with him, and anyone who follows me on Instagram, I'm constantly, you know, doing stories at the gym, and we're busting each other's balls and whatnot. But I feel like that kind of keeps you young too, you know, like just being able to interact with, you know, people of all ages and,
Mm.
you know, me being into my anime and all this stuff and going to conventions, like I meet people of all different sizes, shapes, and ages. And I don't know, I don't see an age when I talk to people. I just see like someone with similar interests, you know?
I like that. Yeah. Yeah. If you've got a real, just energetic mentality, I guess it just helps to keep you a lot more youthful. And I guess hanging around younger people as well.
Yeah, yeah, I guess so. He likes to, you know, he likes to call me old man and all these jokes and shit. And even when he says that, it's weird to me because I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I used to say that shit when I was his age because I thought it was funny, you know. But like in my head, it doesn't apply to me. So I'm like, that's a dumb joke. I go, I go, people, I go, people think I'm your age, so shut the fuck up.
There we go. What about your daughter? What important principles and life skills do you think is important with raising your daughter?
That's a good question. So, you know, when I met my daughter, she was 11, you know,
Mm.
and, you know, we've always had a really good relationship. You know, in the beginning, you know, obviously the divorce of her parents was still kind of fresh. So like, she never really saw me as like the bad guy, but you know, it took a little time to build and establish a really good relationship with her. And I mean, like maybe like the first year, you know, was like establishing that relationship. And you know, we get along beautifully now. And I've just always, so I guess it's easy for me to explain it this way, right? So I have 4 brothers and 2 sisters. Okay, I have a brother who is pretty close to my age. He's only like 22 months older than me, so almost 2 years. And then I have 3 younger brothers who are about 10 years younger than me. And then I have my sister who's about 10 years younger than me. And I have a stepsister who's my age. But anyways, with my younger brothers and sister, when they were like 10, I was 20, right? And so as they were growing up, I always tried to be a positive influence in their life and teach them things, because it's a different relationship when you're a sibling versus a parent, right?
Mm.
So like for example, this might be a silly example, but where I grew up, um, the schools weren't the greatest. Let's just put it that way. So when my little brothers were going to school, I was teaching them what to do if they got picked on. You know what I mean? So like, how when you're a kid, you get picked on, people are like, oh, like your mama this or whatever, like those types of jokes, or I was with your mom last night, whatever. So I would teach my little brothers, how to be smart asses. I'm like, if someone ever says like, oh, I, had sex with your mom last night, I go, your reply needs to be, oh, well, next time, make sure she's home by 6. I like dinner on the table by 7. So I taught them how to just be like, have snappy comebacks and whatnot. And,
Mm.
And I always took care of them too. Like they were the luckiest, kids, because every time a new like gaming system would come out or a new game would come out, they didn't have to wait for, mom and dad to buy it. I would buy it and then they'd be able to play it. Like I would literally wake up, after, being out all night, like on a Friday, I wake up Saturday morning and my 3 little brothers would be sitting on the end of my bed playing Halo, like with the volume down so they wouldn't wake me up. And then I would wake up and they would throw me a controller. Like we always had a really good relationship. And it was because I was a strong male influence in their life. I taught them, like they saw me in school, they saw me pursuing, being successful. They saw me, always fixing my own car and fixing things around the house. And I taught them all these things. And I treated them like little adults. I didn't talk to them, like little kids. I wouldn't like kick them out of my room because I didn't want them around. Like I always treated them like that. And I also grew up with step parents, and now he's not my mother ended up divorcing him as well, but he's my sister's father, so he obviously still in the picture. Now he's like a really nice guy, but like my first stepfather, my mother's second husband, it's a real prick. Like he would literally lock me and my brother outside all day, and he's like, you're only allowed to come in if you have to take a shit. Like he's just a real prick. And I learned quite quickly at a young age, if I ever had a child, whether it was my own or a stepchild, I'm like, I do not ever want to be like this or come across this way. So when Crystal came into my life, it was very important to me to be a strong father figure, role model to her, have a friendly relationship, but also, be the kind of person that she could come to if she has problems. Right.
Mm.
So as she was growing up, we would teach her things. Like we would watch, TV, and we'd watch like, 16 and Pregnant and these types of shows. Cause, women like to love watching these shows. Kids love watching these shows. And we would just talk to her and we'd be like, look, I go, this is going to be your life. If you're out there messing with boys and you have a kid, I go, your life is over. And now it's all about the baby. If you want to be successful, you need to make sure if you have relationships when you get older, that they're good relationships and you're not just going out and dating and, screwing around with boys. And we just talk to her like that, and we built this really good, relationship where she could tell us anything and everything and not feel like she was going to get in trouble for talking about something. Right. And, your parents might've been the same way, but like my dad used to always tell me, like, I don't care what you did. If you're in trouble, you call me. We'll make sure you're safe, and then we'll deal with the stupid shit you did later. Luckily with a daughter, you don't have to worry about that. Usually it's the boys getting into really big mischief,
It is, isn't it? Always boys.
Yeah. And when she started dating, that was a whole, interesting thing, but it wasn't really even a big deal because I would talk to her. I'd be like, okay. I'm like, oh, you're talking to boys, whatever. She's like, yeah. And she would be like, showing me what boys were saying. Man, dude, like nowadays with like, TikTok and Instagram and Snapchat, like the things that dudes say, I can't even believe, they just go come right at it asking for like, photos or nudes or want to hook up. Like, it's not even like, hey, what are you doing? Do you want to go on a date? They're like, hey, want to hook up? Like, that's literally how they'll attack and approach. So I just taught, my wife and I just taught her how to have self-worth, and to not, settle for anything less than what she wanted. And because of that, she's in a great relationship. her past relationships have been great, and her current boyfriend she's been with for like, over a year now, is a great guy and takes care of her, and she's happy. And she's in school, she's studying computer science, so she's focusing on her grades. So yeah, like I just being a dad is all about, being a good dad, especially with a daughter, is all about just keeping an open dialogue, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just being supportive is really what it is. And
So a lot of,
hey, I'm from Boston. Like, I am a sarcastic ass, from time to time. And, my daughter and I don't get along like sunshine and rainbows all the time. But regardless of anything, she knows that if she needs me, I'll be there like in 2 seconds to take care of her,
So you said you're from Boston. Is that a Boston accent? Like, there's certain words that you say, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I'm trying. It's almost like I'm trying to figure out, which part of the States is that from?
Yeah.
It sounds different. Is it a mixture, would you say, or is that just like 100% Boston? Or
Yeah. So your Boston, the Boston accent will change depending on where you live. Like, it'll be really thick, or it'll be kind of mellow like mine. If I'm really angry and yelling, my accent is like full throttle. But it's interesting because some people will notice that sometimes I'll pronounce words normally, and then other times my accent will come out. And it's because for like the first 5 or 6 years or so with my YouTube channel, I did my best to hide my accent because I was still trying to pursue the acting side of things. And I didn't want people to see my channel and just see like a thick accent,
right.
And so a lot of times when I'm doing interviews or talking, especially if there's a language barrier, I purposely will try to remove my accent just so you can understand what I'm saying. Because if I say car, if you know the accent, I'm talking about a car, but if you're Middle Eastern and you hear me say car, you're like, what the hell is this guy talking about? So in certain settings, just like actors, on shows or whatever, they can do multiple accents, So I learned to remove my accent. And so sometimes people get confused. They're like, why did you pronounce the word this way? And now your accent comes out that way. And I'm like, dude, it's just my brain sometimes will shut it off and it'll turn it back on. It is what it is. Enjoy. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Like it is what it is,
So,
but if I'm ever like excited or angry, all you hear is the accent, and it's hilarious to people, I guess.
That's interesting. I like it. So you've been very interested into acting. Have you been in a couple of movies? I'm sure I read somewhere that you'd been in a couple. One called I think it was Heist.
Yeah, I did Heist. Heist was really cool.
Something.
So yeah, so Heist was like Robert De Niro, Mark Paul Gosselaar, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, Bautista, and I played a SWAT team sergeant, right? And all of my scenes were with Mark Paul Gosselaar, who is Zach from Saved by the Bell.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm.
So he was really nice. And then I ended up having like one day I had lunch with Bautista and Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and they were both super nice. And it was so hard to not take a photo with them because I'm like, I want these guys to think I'm cool. So I'm not gonna ask for a photo. In hindsight, I probably should have, and this was before even Jeffrey Dean Morgan like took off. At that point, I knew him from like Watchmen and Supernatural because he plays the father. It's one of my all-time favorite TV shows is Supernatural. But anyways, I was like, I want a photo so bad, but I need to be cool right now, so I'm not going to ask for a photo.
Oh man.
So that was really cool. And then I actually was the head trainer for Lionsgate for a few years. They had a YouTube channel called Lionsgate BFit. And so I did like 3 full-length programs with them that ended up being DVDs. They're the ones that got me the deal with Heist.
Awesome.
In that movie. And then I also got to do a bunch of other stuff. Like I did official workouts for the Expendables movie. I did some video stuff with like Central Intelligence, Day After Tomorrow, and a few other like movie related fitness things. That was really cool. So there was a lot of opportunities that came out of that as well. Unfortunately, Lionsgate went through like some like hierarchy changes, and they completely botched the BFIT program they had going on. So that was like a 3-year thing that was really great, and it all kind of went away really fast because they had some internal issues. But yeah, it was a lot of really cool opportunities that were coming out of there for sure.
Mm, Did you? Was there another movie called Living Will or something?
Oh yeah, Living Will. Yeah, so that was the guy from Jackass, who ended up actually passing away, I believe, that year. But no, that was like a really small thing. I had like, I think, a 2-bit scene where I was like a drunk fraternity guy just being drunk at a party or something. To be honest, I don't even think I watched it.
I saw a trailer because I thought, let me just look at the trailer on both of these movies. And the one with Robert De Niro, I was thinking, oh my God, wow.
That movie's great. That movie's great.
It's really cool. And when I looked at the other one, I was like, it's hilarious. Like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
Some guy's taking a dump on a toilet and he dies or something like that.
Yeah.
Dies and he comes back from the dead.
Well, that's what was so messed up about it, because that guy, like, the movie was about him dying, and he literally died, I think, that year.
Wild.
So so that whole like Jackass crew, one of the main guys, his name is Bam Majera or something like that. I forget his last name, but it was his best friend. Yeah, it was really sad when he passed away. But yeah, I remember I was like sitting at a fire, like being a drunk frat guy or something. I don't remember.
I got to check it out now. Is that on Netflix?
I'm not sure if Living Will is, but Heist is.
Heist
was a good movie. Like a lot of people were like, dude, I just watched Heist on Netflix and I think I saw you because my head was shaved. They shaved my head to make me look more badass,
Have you got any more movies which you I don't know, got lined up in the future, or what's your plans there?
So, I mean, what I'm working on right now is, do you follow the challenge, the MTV challenge?
No.
So basically, back in the day, if you were on The Real World, you would go on a competition show called The Challenge, which is on MTV. And they would take people from The Real World and Road Rules, and you would compete in these like insane types of challenges. Some were physical, some were mental, right? And they asked me to do it back in 2009, but I had made the decision back then that I needed to do YouTube. And at the time, it was definitely the right decision, obviously.
Yeah.
And so now my buddy Mark Long, he started a new show. It's on Paramount Plus called The Challenge All-Stars, where they're bringing back castmates, that you haven't seen in a while to compete and do the show. And it's doing really well because people really like it. And if we're being 100% honest, a lot of the new challengers on the main show are just like whiny little bitches, and everyone's getting sick of it, myself included. So I've been talking to Mark, and they asked me to submit a bio video to do season 4, which is hilarious. I wish I could share it with you. It's really fun. It's really cheesy, but it's like, that's the kind of cheesy that got me on the show to begin with back in 2009. So I know exactly what they're looking for. But I was getting a little irritated because I know they just filmed season 3 before the December break. And so I assumed they would get started on season 4, relatively soon. And I hadn't heard anything yet. And we're in February. So I sent him a text message like a couple days ago, actually. And I was like, hey, Mark, I'm like, what are you trying to be the only good looking guy on the All-Stars show? Like, what's going on? And he's like, ha, ha, ha. And he's like, no, we're probably not doing season 4 towards the end of the year, but you're definitely, in the mix to be on the lineup. So I was like, okay, sweet. So that's what I'm actively pursuing right now. And it's actually kind of been a blessing in disguise that it's been delayed, because as I told you before we started this, I started another YouTube channel on crypto, and that's been eating up a lot of my time, but in a good way. There's been a lot of opportunities come from there.
Awesome. Yeah. So you've got a big interest in games and also crypto. I mean, how do you find time? You got all the fitness videos. How often do you post fitness videos?
So I've basically had to kind of find a balance lately, right? And I used to, I mean, when you're a YouTuber and you've been doing it as long as I have, you almost feel like if you don't create a video and post at least once or twice a week, everything is going to go to shit. It's just like this innate fear you have, right? And in December, I kind of took a big step back from the fitness channel, mainly just because it was December. Why am I going to kill myself making content when people aren't even really looking for it, right? So I kind of took a little bit of a step back and I started focusing on the crypto stuff because I'm really interested in it. And I noticed that my monthly views and income, it didn't really change. If anything, it actually increased. And I hadn't put out any videos for like maybe a week and a half. And I was like, that's interesting. You know, for so long, I've had this fear that if I stop, that I'm going to lose, you know, out on subscribers or whatever. And it actually, it got better. And because my crypto channel is exploding so much, so my crypto channel, Scott Herman Crypto, my fitness channel, Scott Herman Fitness, I've actually now found a whole new niche of people that are searching Scott Herman to find my crypto videos. And now my fitness videos are popping up. So now they're watching those videos.
All right.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I haven't really combined the two channels yet. Like I haven't really, like, I made a couple videos on my fitness channel, like back in June, because I invested in a crypto called Shiba Inu and I made a lot of money on it. And I made a video about it telling my community. And the first video I made was received very well. And then like a few months later, I made another video about it because they were coming out with some interesting information that I thought was like relevant to people who might want to invest in it. And I was like, hey guys, you know, just want to let you know that, you know, that Shiba is doing all this stuff, whatever. But the difference was at the first video, the price was really high. And then when I made the second video, there was a bit of a dip, right? And so people automatically assumed that I had just made the second video because I lost all my money, right? And I was like, what the fuck? You know, like, it's clearly not what happened here. I made the second video because I was pretty sure at the time that they were going to come out with this news and their own swap. And I don't want to get into the details. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's not going to make any sense either. But there was some really awesome news that was coming out. And I'm like, hey guys, check this out. Don't miss it. And people shit all over me on that video. It was like the most hated video I've ever had in my life on my YouTube channel, right? And I had not started my crypto channel at that point. And so a lot of people were like, dude, if you want to make crypto videos, just start a second channel. And so that's what I ended up doing. And I haven't said anything about crypto on my fitness channel since then. I will say that the price point that the video, okay, let me start over. So when I made my first video on Shiba Inu, I made a lot of money. The price, it was doing really well. And then it dipped and I made my second video and people talked all kinds of shit. So I lost all my money. 2 or 3 months later, the token went to a new all-time high, like way past where it was the first time. So anybody who listened to me in that second video and did some research made a lot of money. Like I had people messaging me like, oh my God, dude, like I watched your video. I did my own research. I made like 30 grand. Thank you so much. Blah, 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 blah. So there was some redemption, at least from all the people talking crap. Because I went back to the video, everyone was talking crap and I was replying to comments and I was like, hey, did you see the price of SHIB today? Hey, did you see the price of SHIB today?
Oh, right.
Yeah, like, because I built my entire channel on gaining the trust of my community. And so for people to say that I was trying to scam, like it actually really hurt my feelings. Like it took me like a good week just to want to make videos again. Like I was really hurt by that. Anyway, so I started a second YouTube channel just for crypto to keep the community separate, you know, and that's been going really well for me.
How often do you post for crypto?
So the crypto stuff is easy because I literally just sit down and I have, you know, all these pre-made like things on a program called Streamlabs, right? So I don't have to barely do any editing. I can literally click through like different web pages and chats and whatever, and I can show everything and then export the video and it's done. Like sometimes it takes me longer to make the thumbnail than it does to make the actual video. So, and those videos are news based. So it's literally me sitting in a chair, making the video and then pumping it out. So I can do those 2, 3, 4, 5 times a week if I wanted to. But with fitness, I mean, yeah, I guess I could do some sit down and talking videos, but I like to teach with fitness. So what I've started to do recently is focus a bit more on like shorts for YouTube. So videos that are under like a minute, whether they're quick workouts or quick workout tips, or maybe like a funny video as well. And
Mhm.
those, because I have my own gym and the filming studio in my house, I can crank those out relatively quickly. So right now I'm trying to find like this nice balance between doing like a in-depth big video on a specific topic that's like 8 to 10 minutes long, and then sprinkle in some of these shorts in between, giving quick tips and whatnot.
Awesome. Awesome. And you also do games as well.
Yeah, so I haven't posted as much on my gaming channel lately.
Is it a
Um,
separate channel as well? An actual separate channel?
yeah,
Or is it? Okay.
yeah, it's a separate channel called Oh the Hermanity, and I have a couple games that I play. Like I have a Dragon Ball Z game that I play on my phone that's really popular that I was making videos for a while. And then I play like Call of Duty and Halo and whatnot. But I don't know. I guess I kind of lost interest in it because when I play my games, I like to just kind of play with my friends and not have to worry about responding to a chat the whole time. You know what I mean? And it gets kind of annoying to my friends because we're trying to like play COD and I'm like, hey, what's up? Super mega strong guy, 28. Like, how's your day going? And they're like, dude, shut the hell up and just play COD with us.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. It's like you're working all the time. It's like, hey, man.
Yeah. Like sometimes I just, I want to turn on the Xbox and get into like a live chat and just, talk shit to people and not get in trouble for it. Because everything now, is so PC that if you get caught talking smack, they'll cancel you or something.
Wow. Wow. For other people that might want to have a successful YouTube channel to you, what would be like, I don't know, give like 3 big things. What are 3 key things a person should do to have a successful channel?
Well, the first thing you need to do is just know that create the content that you want to create. Because a lot of times what happens is you start creating videos and then you start to see which videos are getting the most views. And then if you look at it like a business, obviously you're going to just only create those types of videos. And you start to lose a bit of like the passion that you had from when you started the channel. Because when you first start your YouTube channel, you're like, this is the kind of content I want to create. These are the things that I'm interested in. And then you start making those videos. But then as time goes on, you get addicted to the algorithm, you get addicted to seeing more views, you get addicted to getting the most likes. And so you kind of lose a part of yourself because you start to focus only on videos that get the most views. So, and you should obviously focus on those videos, but don't stop making the ones that you want to make as well. If one video gets 10,000 views and another one gets 50,000 views, if you really like making the videos that get 10,000 views, you can still make them. People are still going to watch them. Just sprinkle them in with the ones that will get more views. Secondly, it's good to have a schedule. Like maybe there's certain days that work best for you to post. So, or to let your community like, hey, every Thursday I have a new video. So your community knows every Thursday to expect a video from you.
Mhm.
Certain channels that doesn't always work. Like with my fitness channel, I try to get a new video out like every Wednesday and Saturday. But with the crypto channel, it's like when shit happens, it happens because it's all like news based. Like I can't predict what token's going to do what today. If I could, I'd be a gazillionaire. So you know
Yeah.
what I mean? So obviously, depending on what kind of content you're creating, is going to determine how often you're uploading. And then I guess the third thing to being successful is like find your niche, like figure out what your online persona is or personality is, and just make sure that you're kind of branding all your social media around that. So for example, if you make your YouTube channel name, let's say Roger Snipes, fitness, right? Make sure you go, even if you're not going to do it yet, make sure you get Roger Snipes Fitness TikTok, Roger Snipes Fitness Telegram, Roger Snipes Fitness Instagram, Twitter, collect all those social handles so you have them if and when you decide to go down those avenues, right? So like, for example, I made my Twitter account in 2009 when Twitter first came out. And then I just never used it because I hated Twitter, because like I do a lot of cool shit, but like I don't have that much to say every day. Like I don't know how people talk so much on Twitter. I'm like, how do you have this much to say all the time? Like, what do you do all day? I don't know. I don't know. But for crypto, Twitter is perfect for that, because that's where you're going to see a lot of information, and you're basically posting like real-time updates, right? So I started using my Twitter again a few months ago, and it's already like started to explode because of that. So like I guess the point of what I'm trying to say is like there are certain social media platforms that work better depending on what kind of content you're creating.
Right.
Don't think you have to make, an account on every platform and use every platform, because you'll get overwhelmed and you'll hate it. Like even for my wife, she has a fashion YouTube channel, and that's where she started, right? And now you have TikTok and you have Reels on Instagram. She does about a fraction of the work it takes to make a YouTube video, and she puts her videos on TikTok and Instagram Reels, and she gets like 100 times more engagement there than she does on her YouTube. So at this point, it almost makes sense for her to not even do YouTube, because it takes so much time for very little reward. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense. Makes a lot. Excuse me. Yeah, a lot of sense.
I mean, she like on her YouTube, she'll barely gain like 10, 15 subscribers, maybe a month there, because it's so saturated. On TikTok, she has over like 500,000 followers and just continues to grow. So it's like, that's the kind of scalability I want you guys to think about in terms of a real example. She's had her YouTube page for like 5 years, barely gets any growth, but on TikTok in less than a year, she has 500,000 followers. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you really got to just not, I don't know if pride is the word, but like I had to tell her, I'm like, babe, like if YouTube isn't working out, stop wasting your time. Like it's not your fault.
What do you say? Why do you think your YouTube has been successful? Hashtags, algorithm? Would you say that your videos are very unique?
I think for me, I just was there first.
Okay.
Like I was literally the first person to do it. My videos are embedded in websites all over the world, many different countries. Apps embed my how-to videos in there, and I don't care, because as long as they go back to my channel, I get the views, right? I mean, even personal trainers reach out to me and they're like, hey, anytime I got to show a client how to do something, I just link one of your videos, So I think that's a big part of it. What you said earlier in the beginning about digestibility, that's always been a really good quality that I think that I've had, and just in terms of teaching anything. I know how to make complicated things sound easy. And that's also transitioned to the crypto channel. Like when I teach people how to navigate like all the different ways to buy and sell and all the terminology, I'm able to, I don't think dumb it down is the correct way to say it, but I am able to, I'm able to explain things in a very easy and digestible way, because typically what happens is I get frustrated to the point to where I get pissed and I try to figure out the easiest way to do it. And then I share that information, And the same thing with fitness, right? Everyone's trying to reinvent the wheel when it comes to fitness. And then you have me putting out videos like, keep it simple, stupid. Like you don't have to go on TikTok and find all these, ridiculous exercises that people are creating just to have content that day. Like the basics work for a reason. Like I just put out a video, like the only 7 exercises you need to build muscle. It's like, what could you possibly think is going to replace a bench press? Like what's going to build your chest bigger and better than a heavy bench press? Like doing a Sven press or a plate press, or, different variations of chest flies that you saw, or, people like to, grab the 45-pound plates and hold the handles and bench those for whatever reason. And they're like, oh, try this exercise. And it's like, dude, just stop what you're doing. go back to the bench press, and instead of doing 3 sets, do 8 to 10 and overload your chest and call it a day. And people want to hear that, but at the same time they don't, because the age we live in, we want everything like now, right? So if you're going to the gym and you're not seeing results, it's not because you're not working out hard enough. It's because you don't know the secret that somebody else has to know. And that's why you're not seeing results. Like these kids in my gym, man, like they've been working out for 6 months and they're in their teens, early 20s, and they're already jumping on SARMs and all kinds of shit. I'm like, dude, you haven't even like hit halfway to your natural potential, and you're already talking about jumping on SARMs because you can't bench 225 at 17 years old. Like, are you like, I couldn't barely bench friggin' 185 at 17, like that's just how it was for me back then, and I didn't have access to all this information. And it frustrates me because, and not because like people like, oh, you're just mad because, they look better than you, they're more shredded than you are, or they're bigger than you are at a young age. I'm like, I don't care about that. Like if I cared about that, I would jump on gear and I would gain 20 pounds and be shredded out of my mind. Right. I care because I know that these kids are going to fall off at some point and they're going to destroy their bodies. And when you've been doing fitness as long as me, and I want you to think about this, Roger, I can't even tell you how many channels I've seen come and go in the last 10 years, because people want quick results. They want quick fame. They want a lot of views. So they're willing to do almost anything to get it. And then when they can't keep up with it anymore, it all falls apart. Right. And I think about people that I went to high school with, that were jumping on juice and benching 400 pounds, 500 pounds, and just absolutely destroying their bodies. And I see them now and they don't even work out.
Yeah.
Like not everybody is like I have a passion for the gym. I love going to the gym. I sure as hell don't train like I did when I was in my teens. And it's not because I don't want to, it's because I just don't have the time to go to the gym for 3 hours. I got a family, I got responsibilities, I have a job, I have a house to take care of, like there's things that come up. So when I see these young kids like just destroying themselves and injecting themselves with things or taking SARMs or whatever, just to gain like 10 pounds of muscle and bench a little more, it upsets me. Like I feel bad, I feel bad, and I try to step in.
It's fantastic though. We need more people like that. When I have kids messaging me, asking me about gear, I'm like, just stop right there. You need to understand what to do in the gym. You're talking about gear. Like, do you even know how to train?
Yeah, exactly.
No, most of
do
them
you even know how to push through a drop set or push through muscle fatigue?
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things I actually, I have a lot of respect for guys like Derek, more plates, more dates, and like Greg Doucette even. And I feel the same way, dude. Like gear is a part of the industry. It is what it is. It's a part of the industry, right? And if you want to do it, it's your choice. I have friends that are on gear and compete. Like we're not going to not be friends because they're on gear. Like it's a part of the industry, period.
Yeah.
But, there's a right and wrong way to do anything. And like you said, if you just started working out and you're already talking about gear, it's like, dude, learn how to lift first, like put the work in first, and then maybe take it to the next level. And, this is even something that I've talked to Derek about before, on a video where it's like, dude, like you would get so much more out of what you're taking if you hit your natural peak first, because then you're leveling up from hitting your natural potential versus starting to work out now, jumping on something, and then literally getting as big as you would have been if you just stayed natural for a year or two. Right? It's like, you know what I mean? And I have these conversations with, these young kids in my gym, and I don't talk like down to them. I just kind of explain things like this in very relative terms. And I can see that it makes sense to them. And it's not their fault. The problem is this young generation of kids, all they want right now is 100,000 followers on Instagram or TikTok, right? But they know that they're not going to do that with their fitness videos if they don't look a certain way. and they're not willing to wait, right? They want to make their videos now and get all the attention and accolades now. And so these social platforms are just leading to, you know, a lot of really bad decisions with this young generation in the fitness space. And it's sad. It's no longer about information. All you need now to sell or market a personal training program is to look a certain way and have X amount of followers on TikTok or Instagram. You don't have to go to school. You don't have to get an education. You know, you don't have to be certified. All you got to do is look a certain way and have X amount of followers. And now you can sell programs for training and dieting and eating advice. And I challenge anybody to come on here and tell me I'm wrong.
It's so true. I've seen people buy followers and buy likes, and you can even buy comments. And I remember there was one guy who asked me if I could share his profile in my IG story. And I was thinking, dude, I don't even know you.
Yeah, I don't know you, dude.
We don't communicate. In fact, you don't even follow me. And I think he then shot me a message maybe about 4 months after. And I was like, why would you still ask me this? And I had a look on his page just to see if there'd been any progress. And his page originally started off at around 1,500. The next time I looked at it, I think he might have been verified. I'm not too sure, but he was on 1.4 million. 1.4 million. And he had all of these likes and all of these comments. I was like, what on earth happened there? I couldn't believe it. Is that me?
A lot of it's probably bots.
Is that coming from me?
Yeah, I think so.
What on earth is that?
Sounds like some jazz or something.
Oh, I know what it is. It's my friggin'. These are my daughters.
Oh, her alarm clock.
I'm gonna have a word with her.
How old is your daughter?
She's 7.
When she starts dating, give me a buzz. I'll walk you
Oh
through
my gosh. Let's hope I don't end up in prison.
Well, that's the thing, man. Like, you know, you teach them to make their, like, I remember my daughter when she was obviously before she met her boyfriend, you know, she went on a date with this guy and it was like she had fun. And the very next date was like going out on a boat, you know, with some other girls and guys. And she's like, I really want to go on this boat. And I said, okay, do you want to hook up with this guy and have sex with this guy? She's like, no. I'm like, well, then you probably shouldn't go on the boat. I'm like, because if I was a guy and I wanted to hook up, I would be like, let's go on a boat. Because as an older man, you know what happens on boats, you know, like that's literally what it's for. And she was really upset because she really wanted to go on a boat. And I was like, listen, you can go if you want to, just know that there's going to be hooking up on the boat, probably some really skanky shit going down. There's going to be alcohol. And if you want to leave, you can't. So like weigh out the possibility, weigh out what you want to do and make a decision. And she ended up deciding not to go. But like, I wasn't telling her she can't go. I was just like, this is what happens on a boat, you know, with young kids, you know? And I'm like, listen, I've done all this shit. Okay. As much as I hate to admit it, like I was on a reality TV show. I lived in New York City for 2 years after that. I got VIP to every club and I wanted to go to every single night. If you think I was a perfect angel, you know, you're living in a dream world. Okay. Let's just leave it at that. So having a daughter, I'm like, let me tell you what's going to happen if you go.
Yeah.
Not that she, you know, would give in to peer pressure. She's definitely very strong-willed, you know, but I'm like, do you want to put yourself in that situation? She's like, nah, not really.
Exactly. It would be tough. Like, and maybe some of her friends might decide, hey, you know what, we're here. Let's just make it happen. And then you think, I don't know, maybe I should be doing the same. Otherwise, I'm the weird one. You know,
exactly.
Yeah, it might just feel normal because everyone's doing it or whatever. Oh, gosh. I don't even want to think about
Yeah, yeah. Just don't worry. You got like 10 years to go.
it. Have you ever had like any YouTube beefs where you've had people, let's say, create videos about you saying, oh, your videos are crap, and or what you said here was useless, and I don't know, people disagreeing and making actual videos out of it, and or maybe yourself, maybe you created a video about someone else. Have you had any
Yes and no. I know in the very beginning, everyone thought that me and Chris Jones had a lot of beef. Do you know Chris Jones?
No.
He has Beast Mode Jones. When he first started his YouTube channel, he was spamming comments on all my videos. And this was, I mean, he has a lot of, he does very well. We're friends now, by the way. We have been, we never really had any beef, but like in the very beginning, when he started his channel, he was pasting his links in every single one of my video comment section. And I just like told him, I'm like, dude, like stop. That's not how you build your channel, by just spamming your link everywhere, you know? And so that it kind of had like a little bit of beef there, but like, you know, we got over it, you know, who cares, you know what I mean? But people thought we hated each other. Like, no, we just never really talked to each other, but then we got over it. Who cares? Chris is a great guy. I enjoy his content. You know, I've done some videos, like some Insta garbage videos on some people. You know, I kind of got involved in the whole, you know, Athlean X fake weights thing, which I was really irritated about, because, you know, like, dude, like just admit when you're wrong, you know, like I've done videos in the past where maybe I said something that was wrong. And then I've made a video correcting myself. Like, who cares? Like, oh yeah, I made a mistake. Sorry. I forget what it was. It was like Greg Doucette had made a video about building muscle naturally. And then I made a response video to what he said, because I was irritated about something. I forget exactly what it was, but I misspoke in my response video, because I was talking about how much muscle you can gain as a natural in your first 4 years of lifting. And it's like year one, you might gain like 20, 25 pounds max. Year two, like 8 to 10. Year three, like 5 to 6. And year four, like 1 to 4 pounds. It was something like that. And I misquoted those numbers, and it turned out to be something like really stupid. Like you would gain like 50 pounds of muscle in like the first like couple months or something like that. I don't remember exactly what I said, but I screwed up. Somebody called me out on it, and instead of just calling me out on it, like talked like so much shit, tried to make me look like the biggest dumbass, right? And so I just made a response video, and I was like, oh, I guess I said that wrong. Here's the article that I was quoting from. I just misread the numbers. Sorry about that. And then I kind of like moved on. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But like when people want to attack you, make you look a certain way, like they come at you hard. And then depending on how you respond, you can change the tone of the conversation. Like this guy was like, you know, tearing me to shreds. And then I made a response video. I was like, oh yeah, I misquoted this article. This is what I meant to say. Sorry. Like now we're over and done with, you know? So people are always willing or always waiting for you to screw up so they can jump down your throat, you know, whether because they're jealous of you, or they just straight up don't like you, or, you know, maybe they just haven't gotten to know you yet. You know, like a lot of people who maybe don't like you, your personality on YouTube or your online persona, you know, maybe like I've befriended a lot of people who have left me mean comments, because we'll debate back and forth, and they'll be like, oh, you're actually like a nice, normal person. I'm like, yeah, dude, like, I don't care. It's YouTube. Like, I'm just trying to make videos and help people work out. Like, if I'm wrong, I admit I'm wrong. You know, let's move on with our life. So I actually just got into this whole thing on my crypto channel, because this token ended up launching their token, and they screwed up the launch. And I was live streaming the launch with one of my friends, and we were kind of like going through the token and the contract. And to make a long story short, the token launched or made their contract to buy available like 28 minutes early. So a lot of people got that from my live stream, and then were able to buy it. And then the token launch just was a whole mess. And so people were starting to blame us, and then the token started to blame, you know, me and my friend. But like then everybody came to our defense, because if you know anything about crypto, like you can only trade a token when their dev team makes it live. Like you can have the contract address, you know, for a month. It doesn't mean you can trade the token until they make it live. So whatever reason, they made it live like 28 minutes before they told everyone, for, you know, whether it was nefarious or a mistake. I guess we'll never know. But then people actually came and made videos about this yesterday and the day before defending me. So like you get it from both sides, you know, you'll get people trying to wait for you to mess up and come at you, but then you'll also get people who will go out of their way to defend you too, if they, you know, if they think that what you're doing is justified.
Yeah, yeah. What about actual trolls? Like, do you get many trolls on all channels, or just mainly on one and not another?
You know, I have people who will try to troll me. And, you know, kind of relating back to what I said earlier about like when I taught my little brothers how to have snappy comebacks.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wreck these trolls so good in the comment section, and I don't swear, I don't get upset. Like I'm just able to usually one line, like a one and done type thing, and they know it's a losing battle, so they don't come back, you know? Or like I remember a couple weeks ago, I was talking to this person on Twitter because I was asking for some information about a token. And I had already done all my own research and whatnot, right? So this person responded to me, and she was like, you know, she was like the spokesperson for the token. And I was like, hey, so, you know, why is everyone so bullish on this token? Can you give me some like more information? And she responds, just read the white paper and do your own research. So I
Wow.
so I responded to her. I said, your comment added zero value to this conversation. And then she went off on me and like started threatening me. She's like, you don't know who I am or whatever, whatever. And every single response I made to her was just like, I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, I don't understand why you're threatening me. Can you explain to me what I did wrong? Like, all I said was the truth. Your comment added zero facts to this conversation. You know? And then people started like jumping in and defending me. So I guess the moral of the story is, guys, like when you're on, you know, social media and people are attacking you, if you know what you're talking about and you can maintain your composure, usually a few things will happen. Number one, you'll reply and you won't swear. You might be a little sarcastic with your wording, and that's fine, but you won't swear and won't necessarily be rude, but you'll get your point across. They'll either not respond because they have nothing to say because, you know, you handled it, or they'll continue to respond, and with each response they'll start to just insult you. You know, like, you know, one of the things I'll get with the crypto stuff is, you know, if I'm responding and I'm articulating factual information, they'll be like, oh, just stick to the gym and steroids and get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? So the
Wow.
conversation just very quickly turns into personal insults because they have nothing to say because you've handled it, you know? So as long as you don't get mad, like, dude, it's Twitter, it's YouTube, it's Instagram. None of these people are going to come up to you in person and talk this shit. Like, it's just not going to happen. Like there was this YouTuber last night talking all kinds of shit about me. You know, I won't get into why. It was something stupid that had to do with crypto stuff. And I'm like, this dude would never say this to me like in person. So I'm not going to go on and respond. Like, who cares? Like, do you know how many people probably talk bad about you that you don't know about? So why are you going to waste your time on the one person that you just happen to overhear? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And you got to kind of wait out that way. And I understand, like, sometimes it's difficult because, you know, if you have a lot of like just pride, you know, in yourself, and you see yourself as trustworthy, and, you know, to you, your word actually means something. Like to me, my word means something. If I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it, you know, and I don't like people doubting me. But again, it's social media. A lot of people are about, you know, a gazillion times tougher behind the keyboard than they are in real life. So you can't get mad.
You can't, man. You can't. Look, man, it's been great, Scott. Thank you so much for your time, my friend. It's been really valuable. Where can people find your channel? So what is your YouTube channel called?
So my YouTube and my Instagram is Scott Herman Fitness. I have a TikTok too. I got to post on there more. I have some actually really funny videos on there.
Okay, cool.
I got one video that exploded. I posted it on TikTok and on Instagram. It's like 13, 14 million views or whatever. It's me and my buddy Nick. Remember that song that was popular, like the Russian man, like there was a man from Russia long ago. Remember that song? It was popular.
I don't know.
Well, because like TikTok is all about trends, right? So you find the
Yeah.
trendy song. So I did this video where like I'm in the gym working out and I'm looking pretty good and buff. And then my friend who's like 6'6", 280 pounds, walks in the frame. So like I'm doing like bicep curls in the mirror. And then like he would walk in the frame in such a way where like completely covers me. Can't see me anymore. Yeah. Did really well. You guys should watch that video. It's on my TikTok and my YouTube. But yeah, so Scott Herman Fitness, and then my Twitter account is just Scott_Herman. And then my crypto is Scott Herman Crypto.
I got to check that one out. I'm trying to understand a bit more about crypto myself. I have bought some. I don't even know which ones, to be honest. Friends suggest. I'm like, okay, I'm buying.
Well, and it's like, it's a tough thing to talk about, right? Because it's a whole separate subject on its own. And I feel like when you talk about it kind of in passing, it comes across as maybe like a little like scammy or like mischievous in a way, right? And it's just because to fully explain the things that I would want to talk about, I would have to like show you things on the computer, show you how trading works, show you show you how stuff. So it's like, I know I've touched on the subject like lightly, but it's because like it's not worth getting into unless you're like getting into it. You know what I mean? And that's why I started the separate channel. But I mean, dude, it's like it's a whole other world. But I will say this. One thing that is really cool about crypto is the communities are so fun. Like when people rally behind a token and you join the Telegram, which I never even knew what Telegram was until I started doing crypto. It's basically like a private server where you create groups, and that's where all like you get all the information about what's coming, for tokens and whatnot. Like all day long in these groups is literally people like hyping, talking to each other, helping each other. Like if you have questions, like everyone's so willing to help each other. And the gifts that people post are just so friggin' hilarious. Like
Right.
I have so many gifts that I've saved that I just use all the time now because like, the Leonardo DiCaprio gif of him like drinking the little cup and like laughing.
Sort of, yeah, in a real
like,
smug manner kind of thing.
Yeah, from Django, I think it was the movie.
Yeah.
So like there's this gift that I have that's a combination of that and the guy who's like in the wilderness that kind of looks at the camera and like nods his head.
Right.
I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. I'll send it to you after this call. Anyways, my life has become so much happier with all the gifts that I found. All these stupid groups, man. Like this shit is just so funny. Like it's so fun.
Do you share the Telegram groups on your crypto page at all? Because I'd be interested in joining and just not only for the laughs, but for the information.
Yeah,
well, I'm always wondering where I can get some info on it. What's trending, what's not, and
Well, typically, if you go to a website called CoinGecko.com, you can like go there and you can find most coins that are available, and they have like an info section, and it usually has like the link to their website, their Telegram, their Twitter page, and you start going down this road of like, to try to see if a project is legit. You basically check out their Twitter, make sure it's like not botted, make sure it's real people, see how many followers they have. And then you go to their Telegram and you see how active the community is, But yeah, so CoinGecko is.
What's your thoughts on NFTs? Have you bought into some NFTs, or are you on the fence on it? What's your thoughts?
Well, if you bought a Bradley Martin NFT, you got rug pulled hard, and he pretty much screwed over everybody. He did like this whole like Ripped Apes thing, which was a scam from the start. I'm actually trying to gather more information on it to talk about exactly what happened.
He's too much of a big name. Why would he do that? Like, that's...
Dude, he made like 90, he got paid like 94 ETH, I think. I was actually reading about this morning. I got to do some more research to confirm everything I'm saying, but dude, Bradley Martin doesn't care. Look at all the drugs he gives his kids in his gym. I've made videos on that, you know, like every single kid that goes to his gym, zoo culture, all of a sudden has low testosterone and has to jump on TRT. Like, what's going on, bro? You know, like it just, don't get me started on this.
Okay.
Well, we can talk about NFTs. Don't get me started on him. Terrible person, in my opinion.
Oh,
this is all my opinion. You guys will have to do your own research. I don't want him coming on here being like, Scott said this and that. Although I believe the things that I'm saying are true, it is my opinion. So you'll have to do your own research on him.
So NFTs, have you actually bought some yourself?
So I'm actually gonna probably end up creating some of my own for a project that I'm working on. I'm not gonna talk about too much just yet. I'm gonna wait till it's done. But I will say this, all right? So most NFTs are bullshit. They just bullshit, scam, waste of money. And I'll tell you why. Actually, if you watched the South Park episode about the COVID, like post-COVID special they had on Paramount Plus, Butters became an NFT trading expert and he just started screwing people over. That kind of summarizes why NFTs are junk. But basically it works like this, okay? Most people just think that NFTs are images, right? Or like weird photos of things, or like there's like 8,000, like, and they'll use like numbers like there's 8,888 exclusive NFTs, and it's like the same character but different versions of it. And certain characters are rarer than other ones because they have like a special hat or some stupid shit, you know, that was created. If it's just a JPEG NFT, it has no use case, it has no value. Chances are it's a waste of money. Now, you can still make money because if it's just a JPEG NFT, but it gets, for whatever reason, becomes very popular, if you're able to buy one and mint one when they first come out, let's say you're able to mint it for like half of an ETH. One Ethereum coin is like $3,000 right now. So let's say you mint it for like 1,500, so half an ETH. If the project gains a lot of popularity and people, for whatever reason, think that these things are worth money, then yeah, you can probably resell that NFT, you know, a month or so later for like 10 ETH and make a quick 30 grand, right? And then when the project dies down and no one gives a shit anymore, anybody holding these things isn't going to be able to resell them, and now they're out whatever they invested. Now, another thing you have to watch out for with NFTs is this thing called wash trading. So you've probably read articles online where like certain NFTs sold for like $200,000, and it's like a photo of a cat riding a skateboard or whatever the hell it is. And you're like, how the hell did this NFT sell for $200,000? This makes zero sense. Well, that's because they do something that's called wash trading. And this happens a lot in the art world as well, where I can literally post my NFT for sale on OpenSea or whatever website you're buying your NFT, and then I can purchase that NFT from another wallet that I created, because you can create multiple wallets in crypto. It's very easy. I can purchase that NFT, let's say for $200,000 in Ethereum. I can purchase it for $200,000 in Ethereum, and now on OpenSea, it looks like somebody bought it for $200,000, and that's what it's worth. And then, and all you really spent was the transaction fee of like $100 because it's your money. You bought your NFT with your money, right? You see what I'm saying here? So then all you do is take that NFT and then you relist it for like 150,000. And then, you know, some dumbass comes in thinking they're getting a $50,000 discount on this $200,000 NFT and buys it. You see where I'm going with this?
Wow. Yeah.
So that's why NFTs can come across as so scammy, because of shit like this, you know, or influencers, you know, talking up NFTs and then basically just taking all the money that comes from the sale of those and then moving on from the project. Right. So now you're probably wondering how, like, well, then what are the purpose of NFTs? If your NFT has a use case, that's what makes it worth something. I'm sure you've heard of Bored Ape Yacht Club, right?
Yeah, everywhere,
Okay.
especially on Twitter.
Okay. So like Bradley Martin did like Jacked Apes or Shredded Apes or something. I forget which one he did. Obviously playing off of the Bored Apes because the Bored Apes is so popular. Bored Apes are owned by a lot of really like rich, successful people, celebrities. I think the floor price right now for one Bored Ape is like 200 grand or like 225 grand, right?
Wow.
However, the utility of the Bored Ape Yacht Club is you are now allowed access into their metaverse space in this place called the Sandbox. And the Sandbox is literally just like you buy land and you create your own world there, kind of like Minecraft, right? Like Snoop Dogg has his own, like 9x9 plot in the Sandbox, I think. A lot of other people are building out these spaces. A lot of games are building out these spaces in the Sandbox. It's going to be like one of the first big metaverse places. So if you go to the Bored Ape Yacht Club and you go to their metaverse, there's only certain areas you can access if you have the NFT, right? So think about it this way. If you own a Ferrari, there's certain events that you can go to because you have a Ferrari. Like there's certain car club events you can go to because your ticket to get in is your Ferrari or your Lambo or your supercar, right? So and why would you want to go to those events? Because you want to network with the people that are there. Because if they're there and they have a Ferrari, chances are they're rich, have money, or have connections, and you want to network. So with Bored Ape Yacht Club, people like Jimmy Fallon, has one. You could potentially go there and then go to these exclusive areas and maybe talk to him or talk to other people that are successful that you could network with. So like that's the exclusive utility with that NFT. And there's other utilities that can come with NFTs as well, depending on what the coin is that they're related to, whether it's a game or something like that, right? And we don't have to get into all that, but the difference is like if a NFT has no utility and it's just a JPEG photo, you can make money, but chances are if you don't flip that NFT fast, you're going to lose money because once it dies down, people move on to the next batch. So like, for example, there's a token that I'm invested in called Guzzler, right? And it's a race car game. There's drag racing, there's circuit racing, there's drifting, and all of the cars are NFTs. So you can basically get these different cars and race them. And then all of the upgrades are NFTs as well. So like rim, spoiler, suspension, engine, whatever. And then you can remint your NFT with these upgrades on it. So let's say I'm playing the game and I win a new pair of rims. I can take off the old rims, which are an NFT, and put the new ones on. And because it's NFT based, I can sell those rims to you, for X amount of money. And that's why crypto gaming is going to become so popular, right? Because being a gamer myself, I'm a grinder, right? Like I like to play games and I like to grind and try to collect everything. But outside of that game, all that shit and all that time I just spent is useless, right? But if I'm playing this race car game and I unlock, a special hood item or rims or whatever, and you want it for your car, I can sell it to you, and then you can now use it in the game. Does that make sense?
Right.
So now you're adding this like play to earn feature to games, and on top of that, because a lot of these games are being built like in the Sandbox or another metaverse space is called Unreal 5, which is like a very realistic metaverse. I can also then take my car out of the Guzzler game and put it in this game over here because they're built within the same metaverse. So that race car now has utility because I can use it to race in this game, or I can just stick it over here, kind of like a Grand Theft Auto, and just drive it around, and just do whatever I want. Go watch like that movie called Ready Player One. That's the metaverse. That's basically where things are headed.
Ready Player One. I'm going to note that down.
Dude, you'll love that movie. But
Where can I find that? Is that
it's
Amazon Prime, Netflix, or?
yeah, it should be on Netflix.
Yeah. Oh my God, this is wild. Yeah, I definitely need to check out the is it Gecko? Coin Gecko.
CoinGecko. Yeah.
Uh,
I just use that website to find information on tokens.
mm,
But like it goes even deeper than that, right? Like, so by the time a token is even listed on CoinGecko, like it might have already pumped, 200%, or I mean 200 times. Like it get like that's what I'm saying. Like to properly have this conversation, like it goes deep. It's a lot to absorb. I mean, I've been doing this, my channel since September, and I'm still learning things. And I mean, bro, like if you don't pay attention, you can lose your ass, in crypto. Like it is not for the faint of heart. Like there are people losing all kinds of money investing in projects that are rug pulled the very next day. Like it's the wild, wild west, man. But where there's high risk, there comes high reward. So if you can navigate those waters, I mean, I lost my ass on some projects. I'll admit it. Like, dude, like, when you FOMO into a project, and FOMO means fear of missing out, and that's basically when it's pumping, and then you get excited because it's pumping, and you're like, I need to invest, and then you throw 10 grand in, and then all of a sudden the shit dumps, down, and then you lose all your money, and now you're basically stuck in this token waiting for it to go back. Like that shit happens every day. It's probably already happened about 10 times, to people while we're having this conversation. That's why it's so important to like join these groups and learn and gain that confidence, and feel things out. Dude, it's fun. Like you can tell by me talking about it. Like I think it's fun, like it is fun. It's literally unchatted water. The crypto right now in the metaverse is basically like the internet boom, back in the 90s or whatever, where people were just throwing money at anything with a .com on the end, and that's where we're at right now. And the people who are savvy enough to take the risk and just get involved, hey, maybe you might not make $1 million, but you're gonna be better off than people who aren't.
Love
we
it.
talk
Love
about
it.
this shit all day. So like I've seen some things, guys. Like I've seen some shit go down in crypto that I just don't want to get into right now, but it's a lot of fun.
But yeah, if you can, I want you to send me some links directly on Instagram so I can check them out.
Yeah,
the
of course.
Telegram, a few which you go in, some groups, that'll be cool.
Well, definitely, it's right. Start by just checking out my channel, and just checking out some of the videos,
Yeah. So Herman Crypto, what is it?
Yeah, just Scott Herman Crypto.
Scott Herman Crypto. Wicked. Yeah, I'm definitely subscribing to that.
And guys, and that's why I'm really trying to keep the crypto separate from the fitness, at least right now, because I'm trying to really like I've already done, and for anybody who is listening that maybe has seen my crypto stuff or Twitter, like I have already accomplished so much in the last few months and established myself as a trusted source to go to for crypto on my Twitter and on my YouTube channel. In fact, I actually just partnered with a company called TARP, and it stands for Totally a Rug Pull, where basically what they do is they investigate contracts and tokens, and they figure out whether or not the tokens are legit or not legit, or something called like a honeypot or a rug pull, which is basically like, they create a token, people invest, and then they basically take all the money and run. That's called a rug pull. Yeah. So in the last few weeks, I actually partnered with these guys to start to be able to give more comprehensive breakdowns of tokens to ensure that all the ducks are in a row, so that the project is legit and it's safe to invest in. So like I'm basically taking the same route I did with my fitness channel at the very beginning. Like I'm trying to build trust. I mean, guys, like I get tokens will reach out to me on my channel. I only have 15,000 subscribers on that channel, but I mean, my videos get like anywhere between 10 to 20,000 views a video. But like I'll get emails, hey, do you want to promote our token? We'll pay you like $20,000.
Wow.
And I know for a fact it's like a shit rug like token. And I don't take the money because I don't need the money, you know, but a lot of people do take that and they'll shield the token, they'll pump it up, and they don't care because they're getting paid. You know, like there's a lot of that in crypto. And I'm like one of the few YouTubers that, at least in the Twitter side of things, people don't hate because I don't shill like trash projects. Like I try to just, like the one I just told you about, Guzzler, is like one of the few projects that I actually talk about because it's legit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Again, like I said, we can go down this road, but you know, just for people who are here listening who don't know me, you know, I want to make it clear, like, hey, you know, my goal with all of this is to continue to be a trusted source of information, no matter what I'm doing. And that's why, like, I'm trying to not go too far down the rabbit hole. I don't want to confuse anyone.
No, I mean, you've given enough great information anyway. And I think you've been a trusted source since 2009. I think people know who you are. As you said, you are deeply embedded in the system. So
Yeah.
that's it, man. You're part of the stone now. That's good.
All I want to do is work out and watch anime. Like that's literally the goal. If I gotta start investing in more crypto to continue that lifestyle, so I can spend money on my car and all my toys, like that's what I'm doing. That's my goal. I just want to buy more. Like, look at I got all these pops up here. Like, I want to fill this room with stupid shit that I like, you know?
That's so cool. So cool.
I'm a very simple man with very simple needs. I like to drive my Camaro and watch anime.
I think many of us have just the few things that we love and we just want to keep life simple. But Scott, it's been great, man. Seriously. Thank you. Thank you so much for everything. I will put all your social media links in the show notes. And it's been fantastic. Very educational. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and we can jump on here anytime. Just shoot me a message or a DM, my friend.
God bless. Thanks a lot, my brother. I appreciate that.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to my shenanigans. Have a great, hope everyone has a great day. Lift hard, train hard, sleep well. I'll see y'all later.
Nice one. You take care, man.